Well, to politics now, where President-elect Donald Trump is adding a new member to his cabinet. Mr. Trump plans to nominate Georgia Congressman Tom Price as the next Health and Human Services Secretary. The president-elect says that Price is exceptionally qualified to repeal and replace Obamacare. Mr. Trump is also meeting with candidates to fill the still open position of Secretary of State. Those candidates include 2012 Republican nominee Mitt Romney and Tennessee Senator Bob Corker. To discuss all that we might see and have seen, CBS News senior political editor Steve Chaggaris. And Steve, I want to look ahead to this dinner tonight between Donald Trump and Mitt Romney. Our Major Garrett says that this is a relationship that has obviously gone far beyond mere optics. What do you make of Romney's candidacy?
It's just amazing to watch. I really, seriously, if I could come up to New York and dress as a waiter and stand around that restaurant, it's going to be fascinating. Think about it. This is a guy, Donald Trump, who, even before he announced his candidacy, basically said one of the reasons why he was thinking of running was because Mitt Romney, quote, choked like a dog in 2012. And then you had Mitt Romney come out this year and just slam Trump. I mean, he said he would never serve in a Trump administration. He called the guy a racist, a bigot, a misogynist, a xenophobe. Basically worked behind the scenes to help Evan McMullin, who ran for president as an independent, run as an anti-Trump candidate. I mean, there's been just this fight between the two of them. And now they're sitting down to have dinner to talk about Secretary of State. It's just going to be fascinating to see what this is all about. And then you see, right, all these people who are supporting Donald Trump, people like Kellyanne Conway, people who've worked for him, who are saying, why are you doing this, Mr. Trump? This is a guy who tried to derail your entire candidacy.
And so, especially as it regards Kellyanne Conway's vitriolic, really, attacks against the idea of a Secretary of State Romney over the weekend, our Major Garrett noted there was no pushback as she did that over the long Thanksgiving weekend. Is it fair to assume then that everybody within the Trump inner circle is on the same page? And if so, is this simply putting Mitt Romney on the grandest stage possible to see him fail?
Yeah, I'm not sure it's fair to assume anything, but I think that's an interesting theory that is worth looking at a little bit more closely, because there are a lot of really loud opponents to the idea of Romney serving in this cabinet, especially as Secretary of State. I mean, even if you take away the personal problems that Trump and Romney have, they really don't see eye to eye on foreign policy. I mean, Trump is more of an interventionist, and Donald Trump is not. He wants to stop going in nation building and dealing with this kind of stuff. And so just from a pure foreign policy standpoint, they don't see eye to eye. So you take the policy, you take the idea that these two have basically been butting heads, and to the point where Romney has been his loudest detractor. It's sort of odd to see why this has gone to this far, to the fact that they're going to have dinner in New York tonight to talk about this position.
But Steve, if reports are correct that suggest Donald Trump prefers the cut of Mitt Romney's jib, so to speak, you know, with his background, specifically as regards reality television, there is an undeniably theatrical quality to all of this. In the end, can we then see Major mention that he still believes that Mayor Giuliani is still the leading contender? His name's floated out there for a long time. In the end, do we see him surviving the boardroom?
That's a very good question. I mean, and it all goes to, what does Trump value more? Does he value the idea of somebody who looks like a Secretary of State, or does he value what his advisors are telling him, what his supporters are urging him to do and not to do, and frankly, what the policy is going to be moving forward, and whether this is a guy he can work with? I mean, that's obviously going to be one of the things they're going to talk about at dinner tonight, is where do they see common ground on foreign policy, and does he trust Mitt Romney to act on Donald Trump's behalf, or is this guy going to be a rogue Secretary of State? I mean, Trump has to have some comfort level there. So is it going to be more than just the cut of his jib, as you say? And if it is, then he's going to have to convince all these people around him who don't want Romney to be on board that that's the right choice.
Now, very quickly, Steve, I want to get to the pick of Congressman Price as the Secretary of Health and Human Services. Just this morning, Democratic Senator Chuck Schumer put out a statement saying, in part, and I quote, "Nominating Congressman Price to be the HHS Secretary is akin to asking the fox to guard the hen house," end quote. What do you make of the pick?
Yeah, I mean, it shows exactly that Trump is doing what he wants to do, which is put people in to fulfill his promises. And the promise is that he wants to get rid of Obamacare, repeal and replace Obamacare. And Price has been one of the most vehement opponents of Obamacare even before it was passed. And so Price is going to be the lead man on that. And they also brought on somebody named Seema Verma, who is a private health care policy person from Indiana, to run Medicare and Medicaid. And so I think we see the direction that the Trump administration is going to go on those issues.
All right, Steve Chaggaris there in Washington. As always, my friend, we appreciate the insight.
Thanks, Josh.